the National League East Division. The Philadelphia Phillies come to town to take on the NL Central St. Louis Cardinals. And here in St. Louis, the Cardinals have enjoyed playing in front of their fans in 2013. Again tonight, for the 17th consecutive game, there will be over 43,000 in attendance. The Phillies come to the Gateway City trying to figure out if the postseason is still within reach. They're a game under the 500 mark. Their lineup still has some of the biggest names in baseball. It's a late July, and two teams that have enjoyed recent playoff success, St. Louis and Philadelphia. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everyone. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We've got baseball games 1, 2, and 3 of this series right here on Fox Sports Midwest. And here at home, the Cardinals have the second most home victories in the National League, and they lead the Central Division by a game and a half. For the Phillies, though, they're 7 games out in the East as we flash back to April 18th. Edward Mejica would pick up his first save of the season. We didn't know it then. He would turn into an all-star closer. Also that night, it was Matt Carpenter, first time that he would be at the top of the lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's bring in my partner tonight, Al Raboski, the Mad Hungarian. We start with Matt Carpenter, the Cardinal leadoff man. He has been sensational. What has made him so good?
Well, like you said, April 18th was the day that Mejica was put in there, but so was Carpenter in the lineup. I think he has a great approach when he goes to the plate, and he never deviates from it. What he's up there thinking, he's looking for a certain pitch, and then he'll go deep into a count. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He uses all the playing field, and he really has been a run scorer and also a run producer out of the leadoff spot.
These two guys have been difference makers this season. Carpenter overall batting .325. Mejica, this guy, sensational. 28 saves, a tough save on Sunday, but hey, so what? Game-saving catch by Alan Craig. It doesn't matter. Another save for Mejica.
Some guys will succumb to the pressure. Other guys really enjoy it. I think what he keeps it very, very simple. He treats it like he did the 7th inning a year ago. Now he gained over 20 saves, so he's got a confidence high. He can afford to blow a save here and there, and I don't look for many.
These two, part of our Twitter poll tonight, presented by AT&T. What is the biggest surprise so far this season for the Cardinals? Carpenter as a leadoff man, Mejica the closer, Alan Craig, remarkable with runners in scoring position, or the success of the rookies? That is our AT&T Twitter poll tonight. Speaking of rookies, we've got one on the mound tonight for St. Louis. A closer look at Shelby Miller is next. Baseball, his rankings, and this is a look at Shelby Miller. The rookie ranks first in wins, second in ERA, opponent average, and also first in strikeouts. Shelby, fantastic year.
Yeah, that's good, but it's all about what can you do now. He's pitching on 12-day rest, so you hope he has command of his fastball and his secondary pitches. But everybody's a little worried about this starting rotation. A good start will ease that.
So it is Shelby Miller, the right-hander for St. Louis. Jonathan Pettibone, he gets the start for the Phils. A closer look at a remarkable year from that man when we come back. Phillies game 1 of 3, and we take a look at runners in scoring position and what guys are able to do in that spot. The Cardinals, as part of our BJC Healthcare Difference Maker, have 4 of the top 6 in average, the National League, with runners in scoring position. It is Molina, Carpenter, Beltran, and none better than this man, Alan Craig. Now, in talking with Alan the other day about this, he says he slows the game down. He does have an approach, and the approach is this: not to get the ball in the air, but simply put it in play. If he has a ball that he can drive, he'll drive it out of the ballpark. Not a lot of home runs this year, but it doesn't matter with the numbers that Alan Craig has put up. 77 RBIs this year, close to 500 with runners in scoring position. When he has 2 outs in that spot, he's over 460. One of the best in baseball. That's Alan Craig. This one's for you. You can tweet a greeting to @FSMidwest, hashtag this one's for you. We'll have those on the screen during our telecast. That'll be 5:30 St. Louis time at 3:30 in the morning in Afghanistan. Bud Light music first. It's the sound of history being made. Here we go. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer or log on to stlchevy.com. Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake, just no equal. Amazingly, again, over 43,000 here tonight. Shelby Miller getting the start for St. Louis as we turn to our keys to the game presented by Toyota.
Well, we want him to see how he responds to the rest. He's got 12 days in between. His last assignment was on July the 10th. Here we are, the 22nd. That's an awful long time, but it was necessary to keep his innings pitched down and so he can pitch through the regular season and postseason. If he throws strikes, it'll all be worth it.
ERA at home still under 2 for Shelby Miller. The switch hitting Jimmy Rollins, the shortstop of the Phils. That pitch is popped foul and quickly no balls and 2 strikes. A look at his numbers presented by Kia. Still very good. 9-6 for the rookie. Overall, the ERA at 2.92. And opponents are hitting just 225. Most of that damage, though, has been done last month or so.
That's right. And the ERA is still 10th in the National League. So very respectable for anybody, let alone a rookie.
How about these Phillies, Al? Are they in the selling mode or are they still competing with a record of 49-50?
Well, it's hard to tell. You know, they have a lot of blue chippers and a lot of clubs would want some of their starting pitching, but they still think they're in the race. They really have not played that well. Charlie Manuel, 4 wins away from 1,000 in his career. I say congratulations, and you'll do it someplace else other than St. Louis.
Off-speed pitch hit to the right side, taken there by Carpenter, and Rollins is the first out in the ballgame. A 5-pitch at bat by Jimmy Rollins, their leadoff man as we meet the Phillies. A lot of injuries, not just with their pitching, but in their lineup as well. Michael Young could be on the move. Chase Utley, free agent to be. Dominic Brown, all-star campaign. Delman Young, Darren Ruff, John Mayberry, Carlos Ruiz, and the pitcher Pettibone, who's hitting 107. And you'll notice no Ryan Howard, the St. Louisan, not in the lineup. He is hurt. He's on the DL, not even on this trip, as that's a ball taken by Michael Young.
Charlie Manuel told me Ryan Howard's down at Clearwater at their spring training site rehabbing. Said the knee is fine, but he's got to get himself back into playing shape, and really, going to have to face the fact he's getting a little older. The body's taking some wear and tear, and he's just going to have to really get himself in much better shape. But Charlie expects him back next season.
Big contract they handed out to Ryan Howard, and it has been a contract that has not paid dividends for the most part for the Phillies. Fastball command. We've talked a lot about that with Lance Lynn. Certainly we'll mention that with Shelby Miller as well.
And you could understand if it's a little bit off tonight, but I also think that he's going to figure out a few things. I think he's been working on them on the side with his side sessions, and hopefully, as I say a little bit, with Shelby Miller and Lance Lynn both struggling a little bit, it's not what it's not a confidence builder at the trade deadline.
Well, Shelby Miller so far 10 pitches, 1 has been a changeup, and 9 have been fastballs. Trying to establish that right away. Did he go? No. So 1-out walk issued to Michael Young, and it brings in Chase Utley. Alan Craig made the great catch in left to save the day on Sunday afternoon, getting his 17th start in left field. Matt Holliday is expected to return for the Cardinals this weekend on Saturday, and this past Sunday, here's the catch. Craig saving the day. Mejica, the great reaction, as Alan Craig had a similar catch in the 2011 World Series in Game 7, took a home run away. He said he didn't think that catch was going to be a home run, but nonetheless it did save 2 runs at least from coming in to score, and the Padres would have taken the lead.
Most definitely. And the thing that I thought was most impressive on that catch was he was playing relatively shallow, so he had to turn his back to home plate, run back, turn, find the ball, and jump at the same time and haul it in. And then after losing his balance, hold on to it when he's laying on the ground.
The versatility that he gives Mike Matheny. Remember, Alan Craig started in right field that day, and in left field for the Cardinals, it was their youngster that, I say youngster, but was playing in his second major league game, Brock Peterson. Mike Matheny told me afterwards, he said he really wrestled with that. He said he didn't want to put Peterson out of position, but yet they felt he'd be fine in left field, and he was. It was no big deal for him to move to left. No balls and 2 strikes on one of the best second basemen in the game when healthy, and that's Chase Utley.
He's had his problems injury-wise, but still, as you say, very, very productive on this road trip. He's hit .417. He's got a current 5-game hitting streak. And if you look at his last 15 road games, he's hit just under .400.
We talk about the base of Utley as well as Howard. Both have been dealing with knee issues in their careers here the last 3-4 years, and major knee issues. That's driven into right, base hit. Young will make the turn around second and stops there. A strong throw in back by Carlos Beltran. So a walk, a single, and now it's Dominic Brown. You'll notice the front leg of Utley, it is up. The Plaza Tire Service replay, and they talk about that back leg being a base for him, and he's now driving the baseball.
Well, that's just an indication how strong he is, or how much he feels that leg can support his weight and his weight shift. He's always been a good hitter, and if he's healthy, he can be one of the better and elite players in the league. There's a young man they waited a long time for, but he's paying off now.
He has exploded on the scene here this year. Dominic Brown. Remember, Jason Worth was allowed to leave as a free agent, and they felt that Dominic Brown was the heir apparent to Jason Worth in the outfield, but it never really materialized until about a month into this season.
And remember that first year, or the first spring, he broke his hand, and that derailed him for pretty much 2 years.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. He possesses great power. He's got 24 home runs. That's second best in the National League, just behind Cargo, all-star for the Rockies, and he's 4th in RBIs with 69. Outfield straightaway and deep. One pitch. Fastball on the inside corner at 96.
And when you talk to Charlie Emanuel or people around the Phillies, they will say that the Phillies are having no problem generating offense. Scoring runs they're having problems with. They're getting the base hits, they're getting runners on, but they're not coming up with the key hits.
Just take a look at some of the numbers outside of Dominic Brown, who is driven at 69. After that, the next highest in this lineup for RBIs is Utley, and he's only at 36.
Utley missed a good month of the season with a leg injury, but when healthy, these guys can be a handful.
Runners at first and second, and here's a 1-2 pitch to Dominic Brown. Long look by Shelby. Ground ball, this should be 2. Handled there by Cosma. Double play. In hitting, just shy of the 280 mark. It's Matt Carpenter, John Jay, and Carlos Beltran here in the first. Then Craig, Molina, Adams, Freeze, Cosma, and Shelby Miller. Look at the Phillies defensively. Jimmy Rollins will highlight the 4-time Gold Glover, former MVP, and a 3-time All-Star. Fun player to watch in his prime. That's Jimmy Rollins. Jonathan Pettibone, his 17th start. He struck out 61 and just over 90 innings of work.
He's 23, just turned last week, 23 years of age, 6'6", and he's pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher. You know, fastball and changeup. Does have a curveball and slider, but rarely does he use those very much to make a difference.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Carpenter. A trade moments ago in Major League Baseball. You wonder if the Phillies will get involved before it's all said and done, and the Cardinals as well. K-Rod moves from Milwaukee to the Baltimore Orioles for a high infield prospect as Carpenter hits it into center field for a leadoff base hit. Brewers didn't even try to sign Rodriguez until after the season began, and now they get a decent prospect for him, so they have to feel good about that. But speaking of the Brewers, they don't feel good about this. Black eye on them and baseball. Ryan Braun suspended for the remainder of the 2013 season. His connection to biogenesis. Matt Garza traded from the Cubs to the Rangers. Big prospects coming back to Chicago. And Jason Grilli, bad news for them, tightness in the arm, and in particular the forearm, and we're going to know more about that hopefully before the night is through.
Grilli is their all-star closer, so that could make a tremendous difference. Still have another all-star, their setup man, Melanson, can swing in there, but we know it doesn't always mean you're going to be successful.
No balls, 2 strikes on John Jay, hitting in the second spot. And in this spot, seeing the Cardinals use him as a guy to sacrifice, but now with 2 strikes on him, you wouldn't anticipate that. Why not just do that on the 0-2 pitch? A base hit into right. First 2 have reached, and here come the big bats.
Charlie Manuel was talking about his team's two strike approach versus the Cardinals, and just how much better the Cardinals are. That ball was supposed to be away, and you saw it come back into the middle of the plate, right in the wheelhouse of a left-handed hitter.
Now it's Beltran, who's had very good success in his career. The National League East with the Mets against the Phillies. So many games. These two know each other well, the Phillies and Carlos.
Pettibone is pitching to the Cardinals for the first time, so these guys are getting their first look at it. It's not like the old days because they got all the video, so they can sit and watch every one of his starts if they wish to. Have an idea what it might look like.
Here's a 1-0 and a bouncer to the right side. Utley does get the lead man as there's an out recorded at second. So even if they try to get that double play, they get the front end of that as a runner advances to third. That's Carpenter.
Well, it's so important to get that runner there because now you still have the double play in order. Yes, Carpenter advances to third, but one pitch, he can get out of the inning with a double play.
And here is Alan Craig. Comes in second in the league in average at .332, just behind Yadier Molina. He's near 500 now with runners in scoring position.
And it is .489 with runners in scoring position. That is the highest mark ever. And we keep on saying the Cardinals as a team or Alan Craig as an individual, it can't continue, but nobody's told Alan that.
The first pitch is taken high. With 2 outs, runners in scoring position, he's at .467, .489 in this spot, and 67 of the 77 RBIs have come just like this. Runners in scoring position.
Makes it very simple. He has a simple approach with runners in scoring position. We talk about that he doesn't want to hit the ball in the air. He just wants to hit it hard and keep it in play. But it's amazing how many line drives he'll hit with runners in scoring position.
He's telling me on Sunday morning he credits Mark McGwire for a lot of this approach and the success that he's had. He said when McGwire was going through his home run chase of 70, the pressure that he felt and how he would visualize in this spot. He'd do that, take a deep breath. And he said even with these big crowds, sometimes you get so locked in, so focused, it just becomes you and the pitcher. That's how locked in he gets.
Well, you have to be that way. And if you find the distractions all around you, you're not going to be successful at this level.
A .220 hitter with this count, though. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Puts the ball in play. Ground ball to short. Out at second and safe at first. And Craig beat it out. And the Cardinals have a first inning lead. RBI number 78 for Craig.
Well, you put the ball in play, good things can happen. Bang, bang play there. It goes the Cardinals' way, and they get on the scoreboard. By our tire service with our replay, and you see clearly he's safe.
Now it's Molina, who's first in the league in hitting at .336. And a pitch that's taken up and in. It's another run scored for Matt Carpenter. You mentioned that during the open. We overlook how important it is to score runs, and Carpenter has done that.
Think about this. We always talk about Molina being such an RBI clutch hitter. He has 51 RBIs. Carpenter, the leadoff hitter, has 48.
Yanni breaks his bat. Rollins on a couple of hops will go across the diamond and makes the play. Matt Carpenter leads in multi-hit games, doubles, second in hits, runs scored. He's done it all. Finish up this series here with the Philadelphia Phillies as Delman Young on the first pitch flies to Carlos Beltran and right. Big road trip coming up, 11 games, 10 days, and then we're back home. And that Phantom Cam that you see there, the super slow-mo, will be part of that series against the Dodgers. And looking forward to that. And amazingly, Los Angeles finds themselves a half game in front. First place now of the National League West. That to me is an incredible story.
Yes, it is. Corresponded with a call of your favorite player in all of baseball, but he hasn't been acting like an all-star of late, has he?
Well, first of all, he's not my favorite. And this is Darren Ruff, and I really have missed you, Al. However, I am looking forward to watching him.
I am too.
Washington really did a number on Yasiel Puig. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's lined into the seats.
Ruff was recalled when Ryan Howard went on the DL.
When we were in Los Angeles, the talk was that Don Mattingly would not make it through the series.
So about weekend, yeah. He wasn't going to make it through the weekend.
Good velocity tonight from Shelby Miller. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You would expect he would have good velocity being off that long, but you would expect him also to struggle a little bit with command.
There's a fly ball lifted into right, backing up a step or two. Beltran. There's 2 away. The center fielder, John Mayberry Jr., with 2 outs and nobody on. 20 pitches in the first inning for Shelby, just 6 here in the second. And a strike at the knees. You see Adam Wainwright over the weekend against the team that drafted him. The Atlanta Braves, as we make our lone visit down south. It's John Lannon, Jake Westbrook in this series, and Kyle Kendrick. Lance Lynn, game 3. Lannon and Westbrook, game 2.
It's a very important start for Lance Lynn in my mind.
A lot of talk about his lack of fastball command, and I guess to an extent lack of composure. Not that he's out there screaming and yelling, but it's just the slow pace, the body language as his frustration mounts.
Easily corrected. With a couple wins, go out there and just, go out, get him his run support that he's accustomed to, and just do a few more things to, he'd get back on track on the winning ways, and everybody will feel good about himself.
Here's a 1-2. Struck him out. First strikeout tonight for Shelby Miller. And a 1-2-3 inning here at Busch Stadium for Shelby. Night here at the ballpark. That's August 6th, and you can get your tickets at cardinals.com/theme. By the way, the Cardinals have announced tonight that on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. They're going to put $6 tickets available for that entire series against the Dodgers, August 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. $6 tickets tomorrow at cardinals.com/6, and that's on sale at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And a strike 2, Matt Adams. Hitting .301 with 7 home runs, and he's driven in 26. Freeze on deck, and then we'll see Pete Cosmo.
Extended hitting or playing time for Matt Adams should translate into a little glimpse into what type of hitter he could be.
You started, including tonight, the last 10. 0 for 7 over the weekend. Again, Holiday expected back on Saturday, so may see that playing time cut back a bit.
They're trying to tack him up.
He's seen a little bit of everything in this at bat. First pitch caught the corner. Next pitch was up over the middle of the plate. Last two have been in. The 2-2.
Old-fashioned up and in, down and away. Talked about basically a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, changeup. The breaking pitches, there's something. There's a changeup. Some people think he throws his changeup too hard for the velocity of his fastball. He should have more variance between the two pitches, but he fools Matt Adams here. Pretty good location with it also.
First strikeout of the night for the Phillies righty, and it brings in David Freese. Cincinnati playing San Francisco and leading that ball game 8-2. Devin Mesoraco a 3-run homer. Joey Votto a solo shot. Cozart has just homered as well. And Pittsburgh leading Washington. Garrett Cole making that start for the Pirates. Pittsburgh leads it by the score of 3-1. That's in the bottom of the 6th. Keep an eye on those two. Cardinals up in front of the National League Central by a game and a half over Pittsburgh, and 4.5 in front of the Cincinnati Reds. 2-0 on Freese. Over the weekend, David Freese with an RBI double tried to stretch it into a triple, scored 2 runs, and that proved to be the game-winning hit with his 2 RBIs on Sunday. Chops it to short. Rollins 2 away. Veteran, a former MVP at short in Rollins, and the rookie here, Pete Kozma, clearly has been struggling offensively, but the Cardinals, with only 4 errors he's committed this year, love his defense. And in talking with John Mozeliak over the weekend, and he knows that a lot of people are talking about Kozma and lately the rough stretch and patch that he's had. It's been now about 6 weeks offensively. He said, we love his defense, though. It's been a lot better than people think. Always hustling down the line as he grounds out to short. 1-2-3 inning for the righty. 2 innings in the books. Cards on top. Lewis in the top of the 3rd. We say hello and welcome back to town, Jim Hayes. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Dan. Chris Carpenter said today he's going to back off his rehab for the time being after feeling weakness in his pitching hand. Carpenter got roughed up a bit in his second minor league rehab start, said he just didn't feel right. Carpenter says the doctors are telling him that if he keeps up with this rehab, that weakness in his hand could become numbness, and he doesn't want to deal with that again. He says he's not giving up on his comeback, just backing off to reassess with the medical staff. But, guys, clearly a setback for Chris Carpenter.
Ruiz looks at a strike. Any thought, Jim, as to what the next step is as far as a rehab assignment? Is it in the minor leagues? Is it live hitters here? What are they looking at?
What Carpenter said is he's going to sit down with the training staff, the medical staff, and see where he is with what he's going through with the weakness in that hand. So right now, it's all unknown. He said he's not giving up on his comeback. He feels he's seen enough progress. The fastball has been good at times, so he wants to keep going. He just doesn't know what the next step is right now.
No balls and 2 strikes. And I would think, Jim, that you're getting to the point of being near the trade deadline where you have to have a little resolution to this, plus the rules of Major League Baseball. He can only be down there for a certain amount of time, so you have to make that decision. Are they thinking maybe bullpen is a better route than starting rotation?
I think at this point they're going to look at all options. I just don't know how much the Cardinals were counting on Chris Carpenter coming back and being a big part of what they're doing. He said himself, no expectations. Great catch.
What a play there by Pete Kozma. That's why he's still in the lineup every day. Thank you, Jim.
Outstanding right there. Good timing, as you said. With only 4 errors committed by Kozma all season long, he's made these type of plays, and that'll keep you in there. With the Cardinal offense, when everything is firing in all cylinders, and I'm talking about with Holiday back, you should be able to keep a light-hitting shortstop if he plays good defense.
Strike to the pitcher, Pettibone. Cardinals do look at the advanced metrics, if you will, and the different sites that rank defense, and by their calculations of what they keep as well internally, they feel that Pete Kozma has played a much better defense range-wise than what he's given credit for. They've been very pleased with what he's done defensively, and as you said, Al, if you have this type of offense, you can hide him, so to speak, in this lineup.
Yeah, and I think overall the Cardinal defense is not as good as what their numbers indicate. You know, they don't make that many errors, but they don't have great range. He exceeded his range there on that play.
I think the best word to describe him has been steady, and occasionally, and it's been few and far between to see those type of plays, but the balls that are hit to him or a little bit to his left or right, he's coming up and making those plays.
And put it this way, he leads Major League rookies in games. He's tied for 3rd with his hits and tied for 3rd with 30 RBIs among rookies. 60 hits from the 8th spot in the order leads Major League Baseball with 24 RBIs.
And a strikeout for Shelby, number 2 on the night. Star Wars night, that is Wednesday, August 7th. You'll get a t-shirt that both has Fred Bird and Darth Vader on it. Star Wars night, Wednesday, August 7th, and again at 10 a.m. tomorrow, a chance to pick up $6 seats for the series against the Dodgers. 2 outs, and here's Jimmy Rollins. Looks at a strike. And quickly 2 strikes, and I think we like what we've seen already from Shelby Miller.
Just thinking about that. First inning after 12 days off, okay, he had 20 pitches. Took him a little time. But since then, he's been a strike thrower. And going out there and retired. 3 up, 3 down in the 2nd inning, and hopefully he'll do the same here in the 3rd.
You know, we had a shot in talking about Chris Carpenter in which it looked like he called over Lance Lynn to have a conversation with him. I'd love to hear what those two are talking about, and I'm sure a lot of it is about mound presence, how you carry yourself, and being aggressive, and just trying to give him a shot of confidence in that dugout.
Well, no one can deny that Chris Carpenter isn't aggressive. And we saw Lance Lynn win 18 games in You know, he said he'd like to pitch with a chip on his shoulder. There's nothing wrong with that. But just go out there and, you know, just take it out on the opposition. You know, don't show signs of why was that play not made behind me, or I can't believe this little dribbler, you know, becomes a base hit. He had a play earlier, or a pitch earlier, that Gotti was set up outside and a strike was thrown on the inside part of the plate, but you don't get those calls when you miss your catcher.
That's driven into right, but Carlos Beltran is there. And Rollins is 0 for 2. The veteran presence of number 29. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer. Go big at a Jack in the Box near you with Jack's new Big Stack Burger. And by 5 Hour Energy Shots. Again, well over 43,000 here tonight. And that pitch is taken inside by Shelby Miller. Cardinals have Miller in the top of the lineup, and they lead 1-0. RBI by Alan Craig back in the first. He beat out what would have been an inning-ending double play. And in doing so, Carpenter scored the first and only run of this game.
Got two rookie pitchers here, and Shelby pitches much better at home, and so does Pettibone, but he's on the road. I think Charlie Emanuel feels like he's getting old. He had Pettibone's dad in the minor leagues.
Right? Leadoff walk to Shelby Miller. Big fundraising night coming up. You can take part in it. The Carlos Beltran Foundation, carlosbeltranstl.com. A night in Old San Juan. That's August 11th. We were there last year. Really enjoyed it. Carlos puts on quite a show.
You're going as my guest this year.
I'm looking forward to it.
Carlos was in a great mood before the game. He was having a lot of fun at the batting cage.
Carpenter looks at a strike. Talked about it the other day that John Mozeliak was saying over the weekend that, you know, you think about signing a guy at his age and 2 years in this climate of PEDs. You say, well, the guy's 35, 36, 37. It's going to be a year or two, and you hope to get something out of him, obviously. As Carpenter hits it to Utley, only players to first. And Miller advances to second base. Speaking of guys that are up there in age, Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee. But you're talking about a great staff that has been decimated with injuries, in particular Halladay, who, by the way, did beat the Cardinals earlier this year. Cole Hamels has had a rough start. And Cliff Lee has been rumored to be on the trade block, but it looks like they're going to keep him. But back to the point of the fact that you have advancements in baseball to where, you know, these guys get older, and Carlos Beltran still is putting up big numbers at the age of 36. So John Mozeliak over the weekend is saying, okay, do we look at bringing him back? He said years past we probably wouldn't do it. He said now, how can we not take a hard look at what he's done? And he said probably will be settled after the season is through and that contract is approached, if indeed it is. But right now it's certainly being talked about, as in years past it probably wouldn't be.
It's hard not to, and especially with what's happening with Oscar Taveras. Instead of getting a full year down at AAA, he's probably going to end up really with a half a season. So he might need a little more seasoning there. But what a great mentor. He showed Carpenter talking with Lynn, but Beltran would do that with all the outfielders, all the position players, talk hitting with them, but can really help a young Latin player deal with not only the game of baseball, but the game of outside of the baseball field, the game of life.
1-2 the count here on John Jay. Slowly hit to short. Rollins up with it. 2 away. Miller to third.
Good instincts there by Miller. The ball was hit slow enough where he could advance to third. And they've shown that pretty good fastball command where he's able to get up and in on these left-handed batters, tying them up.
Ideally, the Cardinals would have loved to have gotten Taveras 400 to 500 at bats. If he can show he can stay healthy in August, puts up numbers, you may see him here in September as Beltran hits it sharply to first, and Darren Ruff is there. Steps on the bag. 3 innings in the books here on Fox Sports Midwest. St. Louis on top. To 31826. Find out more at Cardinals.com. St. Louis with a 1-run lead as we move to the 4th inning. It's Michael Young, Chase Utley, and Dominic Brown. 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup for Charlie Manuel's club. We get asked a lot how much time we spend at the ballpark, and then on top of that, how much time does Mike Matheny and his staff spend at the ballpark. Mike and his staff get to the ballpark today around 11 11:30. And then it's meeting after meeting as they start to evaluate the hitting matchups, pitcher matchups. Guys get workouts in. A lot of the younger players will show up for the extra BP. And as Mike says, then after that, you better get out of the way when the veterans get here. It's their cage.
You know, Dan, it used to be a manager would hire coaches who were his drinking buddies and just somebody he could pal around with. But today, you know, you have to hire guys that are going to instruct. More teaching done at the big league level than ever before. And they just put in countless hours.
Good fastball by Shelby. Nothing in 2.
Used to always say that Tony La Russa, you know, expected a huge commitment from his players, but he and his coaching staff gave twice as much back.
You know Charlie Manuel pretty well. There's Chris Maloney, longtime minor league coach, now here in the big leagues. I wonder how much Charlie gets into the video. You know, is he adapted to the times as much as maybe a Mike Matheny?
Probably not.
I'm sure some, though, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Charlie was a good player and was a power hitter. He was an excellent hitting coach. You know, before he got into the managing. 69 years of age. He's got 996 career victories. He's the most wins ever by a Phillies manager. And he's got that southern drawl and sense of humor. Took the Philadelphia Philly, you know, their contingent a while to figure him out.
Third strikeout for Shelby Miller. Plaza Tire Service replay as Michael Young is caught looking. That's a pretty good guy right there to catch looking.
Yeah, he's really, I've always admired Michael Young from afar, and I told him that when we were in Philadelphia. He's been around for a long time now and been very productive. Fits right in with Utley and Rollins. Some of my favorites.
And a breaking ball in there for a strike to Utley. Single to right field first time up. Average is now at 281.
Shelby can do that. Throw that effective breaking ball. Get it over for a strike. Strike one especially. You get these hitters talking to themselves.
This ball club of the Phillies could look a lot different a month from now and certainly this time next year. May not have Charlie Manuel. Utley could be gone. What happens with some of their very good pitching that they have? Another hard hit ball to right off the bat of Utley. Base hit. And he is 2 for 2.
Go in on him. He leaves it out over the middle of the plate. And Utley just too good a hitter to miss.
In steps Dominic Brown. Take his numbers out of this lineup, and the Phillies are a poor offensive club. As a team, they're 5th in the National League in average at 258. We talked about Utley was hurt, Howard's out, aging lineup, and this pitch has popped up. Kozma, 2 away.
Well, he's made some great pitches against Derek Brown. Double play ball, now a pop up.
Matt Holliday was frustrated about learning that he was put on the DL, but with the All-Star game, remember he did play this series, the exception of one game at Wrigley. Then you couple in a few off days here coming back. He should be well rested, ready to go by Saturday, and hopefully near 100%.
I talked to him today and everything, and he realizes why he's there. And with the opportunity to go on the 15-day disabled list, and you only missed 7 games, you know, it made perfect sense. He was still feeling something in there. He's taking batting practice every day, so he'll be. He said he ran at full speed today, so he'll be ready on Saturday.
First overall pick back in 2003. The high fly ball off the bat of Young into deep right, but with room, it's Beltran, and he puts it away. Delman Young twice has flied to right, and he's 0 for 2. Oh, yeah, there's Boots. Yep. Dora the Explorer, Boots. That's one way you take in a game. We need to get one of those for Al. Charter high-speed pitch, and it's Pettibone at 94. Shelby has hit 96 on the gun.
You know, it's interesting because if you were to talk to people, we'd probably say Shelby averages 94, and the same thing about Pettibone, averages about 91. They can top out a little higher, but their comfort zone is a little lower than that, and they're able to throw more strikes.
Alan Craig on a 1-2 pitch, first time up, runners at the corners and one down, grounded into a fielder's choice, picked up the RBI, number 78.
Don't you get mad every time he comes up with nobody on base?
It hasn't been that often. Gives you an idea just how good Carpenter's been getting on base for him.
Good point. Probably become a little bit of a mental block for him too when he comes to the plate with nobody on. He doesn't realize it, but probably doesn't concentrate as highly as he does when there's runners in scoring position.
Could see that human nature that you really bear down in those spots. I said, do you still get nervous? He said, absolutely. He said, all of us do.
You want to have jitters. You want to get the, those little, like you say, nervous or whatever adjective you want to put with it. And when you don't have them, you don't belong out there. But when you have them and then you're able to zone it out and get into your own little comfort zone and it's just you and the pitcher, that's when it's fun.
I'm curious, Al, you're a guy that played in the 70s and very early 80s. You see the news of Ryan Braun. It's national headlines, not just in the sport of baseball, but just in general. What's your reaction as a guy that played this game at a high level and seeing the news of that? What'd you think?
Well, one, the best part about it is that he accepted the penalty and probably helps his ball club. They aren't going to be a factor in postseason this year. So he takes a lesser penalty than dragging it out through the appeal process. I think we all felt he was guilty the first time, and he ruined the guy from Wisconsin who took the sample, just ruined his life by saying that he purposely tainted the specimen, which, come on, he's not going to do that. But I think the one thing is I'm finally proud of the Players Association, that you've got enough of the players that finally have told leadership enough's enough.
That's a fair ball down into the corner. Craig on his way to second. Brown having troubles with it, but gets it back in finally. And Alan Craig is in with a leadoff double to start the home half of the fourth.
His 23rd double of the year. Like I said, we're never disappointed when Alan Craig's in the batter's box, but you know, I mean, finally, as we take another look at this, just inside the third base bag, nice swing, balance, leverage there, and it's inside the bag, down in the left field corner. It's beyond our sight lines, but it took a long time for Dominic Brown to get that one out of there, but there was no place for him to go other than second. But you know, I would have been very upset if I was a clean player, because I was being, you know.
That is a fair ball off the glove of Young. Craig being waved in. Yachty on his way to second. Back-to-back doubles. 2-0 Cardinals. RBI number 52 for Yadier Molina.
29th double for Yachty. There's that leg up. Hyundai showing you how high it'll go. And then an off-speed pitch, got the changeup, and just hooks it. And right over the bag. Tough play from Michael Young. Got a piece of it. That just slowed it down, guaranteeing that Alan Craig would score.
Up the middle, base hit off the bat of Adams. They'll hold up Yadier Molina at third. Back-to-back doubles, a single for Adams, and in steps David Freese.
With nobody out and Yadier Molina running, there's no way also that you're going to run into a collision. So just go station to station. But after I saw the throw from Mayberry Jr., I wish he would have sent him. A weak throw from the center fielder in. Rich Doobie out to talk to Pettibone. Had a great conversation with Rich. He's been around for a long time, as Charlie has, and talked about a lot of the nuances of today's game and the lack of fastball command. That's one thing he felt like Pettibone had pretty good command of his two pitches. Throw it all four spots, up and in, down and away.
We have seen lately a lot of teams not throw Freese strikes early in the count. He's hitting .429 on the first pitch. And with runners in scoring position, David Freese is at .209. Infield is in a step or two.
We know
potential double play.
Yeah, I was going to say, we know that David Freese is a much better hitter than that .209. It's been a tough time in the RBI department, but I would suspect that his numbers will be a lot better in the second half. Getting his base hits now.
I think from the Cardinals' perspective and David's perspective, they want to see him drive the ball a little bit more. Yeah, I agree with you, Al. The singles and getting on base, absolutely. But he's at a corner position, and a lot of times it's looked at as power and also RBIs. Take away, though, that first month, and he's been much, much better.
It's that change up again. Now, a lot of times when clubs get two strikes on David, they'll throw that breaking ball well off the plate and get him to reach. Pettibone really doesn't have that breaking ball, but he has an effective changeup. But David's seen it in his last pitch, so he might be better geared for it.
Base hit right side. He fights off the 1-2 pitch. and picks up the RBI, number 33 for David Freese. The first 4 have reached here in the 4th inning, and the Cardinals have added to their lead. It's now 3-0.
I think David was concentrating, thinking he was going to get a changeup. He got a fastball, and it's kind of a hanger a little bit, but he hits it to right field, and he does drive in a run and continues this merry-go-round of 4 consecutive hits.
There's Cosmo with runners at first and second.
Westbrook telling those guys, yeah, you can all hit pretty much like me.
3 for 3 in his last start.
How about that?
Think about Jake Westbrook, Al. Potential of postseason play. And obviously Wainwright would be a horse that you'd look towards, and you never know how it's all going to finish up. But Jake Westbrook, if you got him a start at home, he is a different pitcher here at Busch Stadium. That's popped up, but that'll find the seats.
I don't think we are ever going to complain about him pitching here at home. Problem is you have to play half those games on the road. And we found out now that the National League does not have home field advantage, so even more the likelihood if you were to get to the World Series.
One pitch. Good rip by Pete. Grounded out to short first time up. And he is 0 for 1. Run differential this season. And the middle innings, huge difference for St. Louis, 80 plus. 7th or later, -1. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Pete Kozma. Outfield is shallow. The check swing did not go. 2-2. Shallow and a big gap in left center.
St. Pete get a high pitch and turn on that ball.
The 2-2. So we noticed at the end of last year, getting an extended look at Pete Kozma, 3 to 4 bats every night. Pitch is up. He can handle that. Shane Robinson, another little guy, lights the ball up.
You have hitters like Holiday and Craig that are low ball hitters.
Pedro Alvarez has hit another home run, number 25 for Pittsburgh. Third baseman really has come into his own after another slow start. And the Pirates in the 8th inning with a 4-1 lead over Washington. A 3-2 pitch to Kozma. He strikes out. Second strikeout.
But it was up and in. Tied him up.
Here's Shelby Miller with 1 out, 2 runners on.
That was a big at bat with Shelby Miller, the pitcher, coming up here. See if they don't drop down a bunt to try and put both runners in scoring position. It's also where you have an advantage with Carpenter, atypical leadoff hitter who really does drive in a lot of runs. So you're not afraid to have him, the pitcher, spot, sacrifice, and then bring up your leadoff hitter with 2 outs with runners in scoring position. You don't have a problem with him driving them in.
Driven in 48. So Miller squares, gets the bunt down, and the only play is to first with a low throw. The sacrifice is good. Well, I hope folks get a chance to take in FoxSportsMidwest.com. Stan McNeil is a wonderful profile on our colleague and the former Cardinal analyst Chris Duncan. We know that his family has been fighting cancer. Mother recently passed away. Chris has dealt with it. And if you get the chance, head to foxsportsmidwest.com. Take it in. You'll be glad you did. Runners at second and third for Matt Carpenter. Singled and scored first time up. Also grounded out to second as he looks at strike one, and now Ruiz wants to talk it over. Yep.
Talking how Matt Carpenter not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, but you almost wonder if he wishes he had that one back.
121 hits, just behind Gene Segura of Milwaukee. That's second best in the National League. Another hit in this ball game gives him 40 multi-hit games. Tops in that category. Tops in doubles. 4th in average. Logical question would have to be, what does this do for the future of Colton Wong? Is Carpenter the kind of guy that you even mess with anymore, moving from a second base position to the outfield or third base? 2 different types of second baseman. Fights it off, popped up, foul territory, and Michael Young is there. Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up 2. Head to the 5th. Mike Matheny's club is up by 3 runs. As we move to the 5th, and St. Louis with a lead of 3-0. How about these crowds? Unbelievable lately, huh?
Phenomenal.
Al, you think about the sellouts. It's been against Miami, Houston, 3 with San Diego. Nearly half of the sellouts have been against those 3 teams.
Been some great promotions there that attract the club and the fans, but we always say the best promotion is winning baseball, and the Cardinals have that great record. Getting that curveball over for strikes now. First pitch curveball.
Darren Ruff at the plate.
Good ratio. 44 strikes, 15 balls. Shelby learning a lesson there to keep him in these games longer.
The fastball is hit out of play. It has been fastball after fastball primarily tonight for Shelby Miller. Again, the Cardinals go back to his start against the Oakland A's, his shortest outing of the year. And he really struggled with command, and in particular his fastball. They worked on it, side sessions, a little bit of his delivery as well. There's a fastball that catches the outside corner. And that is the 4th strikeout for Shelby. Krispy Kreme dozen deal. Cardinals get 9 hits tonight. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. Receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. Stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for this sensational deal.
What'd you do, Dan?
I'm not sure. It's pulled down the left field line and foul.
You go back to the rough at bat, and I think that was the first pitch curveball that really set the tone for that at bat. Had Ruff looking for that pitch and never got it again. You know, or at least was conscious of his ability to throw that secondary pitch for strikes. Talked about the fans.
Well, one of the first pitch ceremonies tonight did have a significant fan base. And again, we're going to try to find out as to why those fans are doing that down the left field line. Popped up right side. Foul territory. Adams puts it away. Carlos Ruiz.
Maybe they don't like Carlos Ruiz because they all stopped waving their fans.
Ruiz is hitting .255. 2 outs, nobody on. Cardinals lead 3-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think you'll look at clearly see a better ratio tonight from Shelby Miller this far, but also his pace has picked up. I'm sure that's a byproduct of success, but he has been a lot better in that regard.
Yeah, it makes it real easy when you're throwing strikes and keeping people off base. With the heat, you're doing your infield and outfielders a favor. By the way, I was talking with Charlie Manuel and Rich Doobie, and we were talking about how much cooler this stadium is than the old stadium. Forget about even the turf. Forget about the turf, but just with so open, you really have a nice little wind coming in. And it might be interesting to see what Ballpark Village does a year from now by closing that part, that big section in left center.
I asked Bill DeWitt, I said, have you done studies on that? And he said, no. He said, but, you know, we feel that this ballpark has been very fair, and they've been told it will not make this a hitter's or a pitcher's ballpark. It shouldn't change.
But, you know, like I said,
you get going, though, you don't know.
Yeah, but you get a nice little wind coming right through that area right now. You block off half of it, it might change that a little bit. Those are going to be seats out there, just like Wrigleyville. It'll be something special. And down below that will be the Cardinals Museum and be the restaurant.
Second strikeout in this 5th inning for Shelby Miller. 5 on the night. John Jay in the 2nd spot in the lineup. He's due up when we come back. No. You can try the new Egg White Delight McMuffin, only 250 calories and only at McDonald's.
You're a big basketball fan, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Did you ever like the Globetrotters?
I've seen them multiple times.
Well, we want all of our Globetrotter fans to wish Meadowlark a speedy recovery. He was taken to the hospital today in Arizona, complaining with chest pain. So he's too nice of a guy, too great of, you know, you talk about whatever you want to describe him, but he is an entertainer deluxe. And we wish Meadowlark a speedy recovery.
And a pitch is taken low. Are you friends with him?
I've met him on several occasions, met him with Lou Brock and everything, but I've seen him at a couple functions in Indiana the last couple of years. And his friends in Indiana text that to me today.
Here's a 2-0 pitch to John Jay. That's fair. Inside the first base line and off the sidewall. Jay on his way to second base. And the Cardinals have their third double of the night.
A couple of them over the third base bag. Now you got it over the first base bag. Hard to defend those. But it really puts Pettibone in an awkward position with a leadoff double. And the pitch staying up a little bit. And just hammered right over the bag down in the right field off the side wall.
Here's Beltran. He's grounded into a fielder's choice and also grounded out to first.
And that's the second hit for John Jay tonight, and we know he's been a 300 hitter. So see if we get his average back up where it belongs.
Oh, and 2 on Carlos. Craig is on deck. He already has a double to go along with an RBI, his 78th.
Fredberg is behind that madness down there.
And there's a strikeout. By the way, we had a get well wish over the weekend now for Bob Zeitz, and many thought it was Bob Sykes. And Ricky Horton wanted me to make sure that we knew, and those that are with Bob Sykes, because Bob, all of a sudden his phone started to explode, and people wondering, well, is he okay? Yes, he is okay, but Bob Zeitz is a Legends camper.
Yeah,
and
Bob.
He's at Barnes, and I know he's watching tonight, so Bob, get well, and we'll see you down here very soon.
All right, great guy, but wonderful family.
So here he is again, Alan Craig, runner in scoring position. Beltran, unfortunately, couldn't advance the runner. Third strikeout.
Take hello to Bob and Wanda Taylor and Little Rock. Got their nice card, and Wanda, we're glad things are going better for you. Hope to see you soon.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Craig. 2 balls and no strikes.
Pitcher sometimes goes out there and they'll throw certain pitches trying to tempt you to expand your zone, and when a guy like Allen, who is just so relaxed with runners in scoring position, lays off them, then you're forced to come into him.
Three and 0. This is where this Cardinals lineup can be so tough. You want to pitch around a guy that has been just on another planet, but on deck, league's leading hitter in Molina.
Pass it from the second best hitter in the National League to the #1 hitter.
There are 3 guys in this lineup with a legitimate shot to win the batting championship. Here's one of them at the plate. And that's taken for a ball.
That's also important for Alan Craig, a young hitter, not to expand his zone. When you got a guy in scoring position, just pass the torch to the next guy. You know, you're not helping the team if you get yourself out trying to expand it.
Fox Sports 1 is America's new 24-hour sports network. It'll debut August 17th. Fox Sports 1. News, highlights, analysis, everything you want. Fox Sports 1. Runners at first and second. A lot of room in left center for Yachty. Strike one. Molina tonight is grounded out to short. And then doubled off the glove of Michael Young. That drove in Alan Craig to give Yachty 52 RBIs this year. The high fly ball lifted to Delman Young. Brings in Matt Adams. Single up the middle, struck out on a 3-2 changeup first time up. It's the changeup there for ball one.
Matt getting consistent playing time with the interleague play, and then now with Holiday out, he'll get enough of those changeups. He'll lay off them. Another one that back to back. You just see sometimes Pettibone's been averaging probably consistently 91, 92 with his fastball. And then that changeup's been 82 to 85. That's where sometimes it's too hard.
Just missed. 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Pettibone's also gotten away with some changeups that are really up.
Adams, good numbers in this spot. Small sample size. He is 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. The 3-1 pitch. And he walked him. David Freese. What's on tap? It's baseball tomorrow night. Game 2 of the Cards and Phils. John Lannon, Jake Westbrook. We'll see Michael Young. Remember, he was with Texas 2011 World Series. Budweiser, what's on tap, and on the air tomorrow at 6:30. Remember the early start time on Thursday. That is at 6. 5:30. We're on the air. Bases loaded for David Freese. Picked up an RBI base hit to right last time up.
Seeing that change up there, 85, and ideally you'd like about 11-mile-an-hour difference in your fastball and your changeup, not 6.
1 ball, 1 strike. David is 1 for 8 with the bases loaded this year. A couple of strikeouts. One of those base hits, a grand slam. That's what started his hitting streak. That was against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Starting to incorporate a couple more cutters into his arsenal.
Good chance here for David. 2 balls, 1 strike. 2-2. Well, you've walked 2 in the inning, Al. You don't want to go to 3-2. So what's the pitch that both guys are thinking of here? If you're Freeze, what are you thinking in this spot?
Well, you always got to look fastball and be able to adjust to anything off speed. Pettibone probably wants to throw him his changeup. Get him to roll over. Changeup.
This crowd will come alive now. Bases loaded, 3-2, and a chance to bust the game open.
They want to talk this over because probably wants to throw the changeup again, but knowing if David can lay off it and it's a ball, it produces another run. If he hangs it, kind of guides it a little bit, then it becomes that much more hittable. And David with a full count, a nice average at 400. The league average just 216.
3-2 pitch. 2 strikeouts in the inning and 4 on the night. Home field advantage. Call 421-1776 or visit HiltonSt.Louis.com. Lance Nix will pinch hit for Pettibone here in the 6th inning. So the starter is out. And Lance Nix, their lone left-handed bat, off the bench into the ballgame. Shelby Miller, 5 strikeouts tonight, 1 walk.
7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 1 sacrifice.
First pitch to Lance Nix is taken high.
7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks.
Showed you the fans down that left field line and waving what they have brought with them, which is helping them as a fan, but it's also helping them raise money. Meg Herndon, many have tweeted at me about this, but also we get the official word. Meg Herndon is a young lady that played at SEMO, played soccer, was involved in a scooter accident, passed away. So they sold over 1,000 tickets, and you see them waving those there. All of it going to a special fund and a scholarship at SEMO. CaringBridge.org. CaringBridge.org. You can also do prayformeg@gmail.com. So nicely done. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lance Nix at the plate.
Showed. While Valdez warming up, he was just recalled today.
Swung on and missed. Strikeout. That's number 6. Looked to be an off-speed pitch here. Number 6 strikeout department for Shelby.
Mixing in those off-speed pitches. Getting hitters to go over the top of it. Change speeds there effectively. Shelby struck out 3 of the last 4 batters. 6 on the night.
Strike to Jimmy Rollins. He's grounded out to second, also has lined out to right.
Pitch strikes are so important, especially if you can get an off-speed pitch over. And it kind of plays with the head of a hitter. He knows he wants to get a fastball, but then if you can throw an off-speed pitch for strikes.
Driven into right center. Let's watch Jimmy Rollins. He used to be able to fly, and he's still running pretty well here. On his way to second, stops there. So 1-out double for the Phillies shortstop, Jimmy Rollins.
Fastball away, turns on that one, and Jimmy Rollins, no matter what type of hit it is, he starts moving up the ladder on the Phillies all-time list. One more double. That was 440 of his career. One more will tie Hall of Famer Ed Delaney for first place in the Phillies all-time doubles list.
Fly ball into shallow right. Beltran makes the catch. Rollins tagging up. And they're safely standing up. 2 away. One guy that Miller's had issues with tonight, Chase Utley. 2 for 2, both base hits into right, both hard hit. Runner at third, 2 down.
Rollins moves up 90 feet, but on any base hit to the outfield, he was going to score from second base. It's the Cardinal arms. Do you agree with me? There's no Cardinal outfielder that could throw out Rollins on a base hit. Even a line drive, one hopper.
Yeah, I think the one guy you'd look at coming in if he had his momentum right is Beltran, but you're right. Everybody else you're probably going to run on. And then having said that, Al, I'm trying to think of guys that I wouldn't run on right now in the entire league.
Yeah, it's just a lost art. Just a handful of guys that have the good throwing arms. Randy Schoch has gotten up in the Cardinal pen, along with Joe Kelly.
Final now, Pittsburgh leading Washington, or rather beating Washington 5-1. Cincinnati all over San Francisco. They put up 9 runs in that game.
Well, what happened to San Francisco's pitching?
Yeah, falling apart. Matt Cain has not been the same.
Lincecum had his problems yesterday after throwing 148 pitches in his no-hitter.
Shelby Miller is due up second for the Cardinals. His pitch count just over 80.
Isn't it amazing though, Dan? You know, we talk about players today are bigger, stronger, got more training. There's more nutritionalists, massage therapists. Training is so much improved. and yet they can't go long in games.
In this case, you take him out. It's more than just not going deep into games, but clearly you would think Mike Matheny's saying, look, we need to get a start for him to build on something positive, which he's done a lot of positive things tonight.
Yes, he has. And right now he needs to finish off the 6th inning.
Good job. Fly ball out to left. He'll get out of this jam. Craig is there, makes the catch. Gets the dangerous Chase Utley. And you can find out more at Ticketmaster.com to pick up your tickets. That's August 10th at 1. That'll be it for Shelby Miller. So both starters are out of this game. The Phillies have 3 lefties in their pen. Raul Valdez, Antonio Bastardo, and Jake Diekman, and it'll be Valdez. Chevy called with a pen. Got a lot of good theme nights coming up. Don't forget that Mizzou night is coming up. I'm sure that gentleman in that Jayhawks tank top will be more than welcome in that Mizzou section.
He would be greeted nicely, just like Valdez is. He comes back to the big leagues. He was recalled today from Lehigh Valley. That's AAA for the Phillies. It's his second stint with the Phillies this year. Sent down May 17th. When was Valdez with the ball club? Was it last year or 2011?
Are you thinking of J.C. Romero?
I thought Valdez was with us too. It wasn't very memorable.
It was very, very brief. (2011).
7 games. He was 0-1, 3.38. Pitched 5 1/3 innings. For some reason, my memory had it a lot worse than that. So Manus warming up. Rock Peterson is at the on-deck circle, so apparently Shelby Miller tonight will be through and did a tremendous job. 6 shutout innings with just 3 hits, and good to see him get his nemesis in this ball game, get Utley that last time out with a runner in scoring position.
That's fouled back. Pete Kozma is 0 for 2. He's grounded out to short and is also struck out. Kozma picks up a base hit into left field.
Nice
Brock Peterson will pinch hit now for Shelby Miller.
Nice line drive by Kozma. Brock Peterson, a good, nice feel-good story. That's what I thought it was going to be at first. It's like, oh, we'll give this 11-year minor leaguer a week in the big leagues while Holiday's on the disabled list, but he's earned this. That 300-plus average. Also, he leading the Pacific Coast League with 22 home runs and a .431 average against left-handed pitching. He could help the ball club if he could keep that pace up.
22 home runs. That led the Pacific Coast League. And you talked about it. The great numbers against lefties, so maybe you find a home off the bench against left-handed pitching.
Cardinals are looking for a power bat off the bench, a right-handed power bat. And when they had some problems against lefties, answers both bills. Dan, I thought his first major league appearance, the fans were fantastic. But just think about how he kept his composure. 11 years in minor leagues, 998 minor league games, 165 more independent league games. And he goes up there to a standing ovation and then had a 10 pitch at bat.
9 pitch at bat.
And that first swing on a fastball, I think the pitcher at least got the message this kid can hit a fastball. And eventually, after that lengthy at bat, grounded to short but drove in a run. That made the Cardinals just 1 run down. Thought for sure they were going to come back and win that game.
Big gap in left center. 1-2 pitch. Remarkable ovation that he has. He picked up the RBI. Strikes out here. He's now 0 for 5.
I think about Larry Walker when he had his first at bat. The people received him so warmly. He said he couldn't hit. He struck out and it affected him so much. He was just so shocked at that kind of reception.
Larry Walker, it makes sense too. He's a big name and he comes over to the Cardinals, but gives you an idea of just how smart these fans are and how closely they follow the game when they figure out that Brock Peterson has been in the minor leagues for 10+ years. Carpenter trying to bunt his way on and hits into a double play. We head to the 7th, 3-0 St. Louis. Matt Carpenter is your biggest surprise of this season. AT&T Twitter poll. We have Carpenter, Mojica, Craig, and the rookies, and it is Matt Carpenter as your leadoff hitter at 37%. The AT&T Twitter poll, and we have a Chevy call to the pen as well. The lefty Randy Choate in relief of Shelby Miller.
Interesting to me to how long he pitches here. Well, he just pitched to one batter where you burn him with nobody on it. You start an inning, just face one batter. I know everybody loves to see Sechrist, but kind of interesting if he pitches just to one batter here.
Here's Dominic Brown. So it's Brown, Young, and Ruff against Randy Choate. Lefty specialist, and yet we've seen him used at the back end of games, sometimes blowout games to get some work. And the first pitch is taken low and outside. What you have to love about this ball game tonight, the fact is that Shelby Miller pitched very well.
And that is most important to this ball club, is to get this type of start from Shelby. Maness warming up. It's only going to be a one batter outing, or first time somebody reaches base, Maness is coming in.
3-1 on Brown. Ground ball that's hit to short. Cosma up with it. One away. It's 3 times that Brown has hit it to short. A couple of ground balls, and that'll be it for Randy Choate. So he gets Brown, and Delvin Young will be the hitter against Seth Maness when we come back. Then you'll get a t-shirt featuring Darth Vader and Fredbird. That combination on the t-shirt, Cardinals.com/theme. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. they'll have $6 tickets available for that Dodgers series. Chevy call of the pen, and here is Seth Maness, 1 out, nobody on, as we play here in the 7th. Strike 2, Delvin Young, who is flied out to right twice.
Seth just comes in, firing strikes, whittling away that opponent batting average, as he'll give up his fair share of hits, but he'll turn it into a double play. Leads the National League with his 10 double plays.
And there's a quick strikeout for Seth Maness. He wastes no time whatsoever. 2 outs. And the lowest ERA against the Phillies since 2010. And these are two franchises that have been two of the biggest winners since 2010. The Cardinals have fared fairly well against the Phillies, especially pitching. There's a ground ball, and it takes a bad hop and then over the glove of Adams into right field. Base hit for Darren Ruff. So Ruff is 1 for 3.
Go back to last season on Ruff, and now I think he's hit or reached base in 21 straight games. And this one takes a bad hop to create the base hit.
John Mayberry Jr., the center fielder. Doesn't get the call. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Sure hit the target of Molina. Molina will set up outside, but it wasn't that exaggerated.
That pitch doesn't miss by much either.
Ball, well, Molina was setting up in, yep. And that ball just slid away. And as a pitcher, Dan, you know, there's times when even if it is in the strike zone, it looks awkward and you can't expect the call. Oh, slightly delayed calling that strike. Two outs. Change up.
Doesn't chase, and it's 3-2.
A lot of times Molina likes to double up. So what he throws on one pitch, he'll come right back with it. Not sure I'd do it here with Seth's good sinker. So the sinker get the ground ball.
Struck out on a fastball up and has also popped out to first.
Fastball away.
Here's a 3-2. Foul back. $44,780. 44780.
It's a Saturday, right? Meaning the crowd. It's amazing to have it on a Tuesday night.
Lined into left center field. They should get a run home, and it will. Phillies get on the board on a rope off the bat of John Mayberry Jr. His 26th RBI. Driving Darren Ruff, and it's now a 3-1 game here in the top of the 7th.
His 16th double of the year. Ball middle, a little bit of way, but still with those long arms. Extends this one, line drive out into left center, and Ruff is just roughing around the bases. He gets scores for first base. He was running on the 3-2 pitch.
Brings in Carlos Ruiz. tying run at the plate, and a visit from Derek Lilliquist. So the 17th sold-out crowd Busch Stadium this year as Rosenthal begins to throw in the pen.
Kevin Franson's on deck. The innings extended to him.
Doesn't get that call.
Just tell the way Yachty caught that, not to see him turn his head, talking to the home plate umpire, lobbying for that pitch.
2 balls and 1 strike. Hit sharply to third. Freeze. Low throw and picked by Adams. Nice play. Time to stretch. 3-1 Cardinals. Things off with a base hit. Run scored early on. John Jay, a couple of hits. Everybody has a hit. 1 through 8 with the exception of Carlos Beltran. How about the last play here, Al?
Well, it was a rocket, and then he short hops Adams. So David comes in and thanks his first baseman for saving him there. Did the tough part, getting in front of that ball and catching the short hop. And there he's talking about the throw, which we can all smile since Adams caught it.
A swing and a miss by Jay. And Valdez is in his second inning of work. John Jay singled on an 0-2 pitch back in the first. Jammed in the third, grounded out to short. And doubled inside the first baseline last time up. The fastball misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. RBI for Craig earlier tonight was number 78, putting him 1 back of Brandon Phillips. Strikeout of Jay, and that's how we start the home half of the 7th. Floats in there for a strike. Tough night for Carlos. Fielder's choice, grounded out, and he is struck out. Out to left, long way to go, and a diving attempt, and off the glove of Dominic Brown. Beltran to second, on his way to third. The stop there. It's a triple for Carlos Beltran. Do or die out there for Brown. Comes up just a bit short and puts Carlos Beltran at third with just one out.
And that'll knock Valdez out of the ball game. They'll bring in DeFreitas, the right-hander. So Charlie Manuel with a slow walk out there. Great effort by Brown, but see if it was a wise one. Playing it in from a single to a triple.
Rewind. Get you caught up. What's happened? Shelby Miller, 6 innings, looked very good. Pettibone, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. The starter for the Phillies, and Yadier Molina 1 for 3, double and an RBI. And for Molina, that was back in the 4th. The Cardinals have a 3-1 lead. They've out-hit the Phillies 9-5. Justin DeFreitas, our Chevy call to the pen. He's in, and he will face Alan Craig.
See the high ERA has been bouncing up and down Phillies organization about the last 3 years. Opening day, he was 25 years of age from Oxnard, California. 11th round in the June 2007 draft. And he gets to face the toughest hitter in all of baseball with runners in scoring position. Pull the infield in. Some of the injuries the Phillies have had to their bullpen. They got a lot of young kids down there.
Not very deep in center or in right. Big gap in left center. 0-1 pitch to Alan Craig. Here it comes with a runner at third. Talk about all the signings in baseball, maybe none better last 12 months than locking up this guy. It's a nasty breaking ball. It buckled the knees of Craig. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He likes that slider. He's 6'4", 220. Slings the ball up there. trying to keep it on the outer part of the plate. Will he make a mistake? Throw three, or just slider after slider. All pitches have been sliders. There's the RBI leaders of the National League. He could either go ahead or tie the first two spots.
Two-two pitch with the infield in. Ooh, almost to the backstop. So Jason Marquis in his previous start against the Cardinals was so frustrated. Well, we find out that he is due for Tommy John surgery.
Not good news. He had like six. That was his sixth try for his 10th win. Now he goes down under the knife. I know Grilly is put on the disabled list, but is it more than a strain of the forearm?
Still don't know. Haven't seen. 3-2 pitch. Cold foul. Hung that, got away with it.
That's what you're saying. You keep on going the slider. You're going to hang one of them. Ruiz out to talk to his young right-hander. Starting to see, Charlie Manuel's a smart guy. And just pick your poison. Do you want to make a mistake on a 3-2 pitch to Alan Craig, or do you want to start off with a fresh count for Molina? And a double play candidate and Molina. 3-2. Another slider, and that kind of sat there. Just got a piece of it. 406 average. The league average is 216. Ruiz telling him to shaking it off there, trying to throw the hitter off.
Breaks his bad little floater out to left, and that'll drop. A 2 RBI night for Alan Craig. Lead back up to 3, and it's 4-1 Cardinals in the home half of the 7th.
He had lost a couple points on that batting average. Now he just got them back and more. Talking about the 489 average with runners in scoring position. It's above 490 now with that, as you said, broken bat, but it's just strong enough to muscle it over the infield. And the Cardinals get back that one run they gave up in the 7th.
Alan Craig, 2 RBIs, on base for the 3rd time. And Yachty pops it up to the right side on the first pitch. Will it find the seats? Nicely done. Darren Ruff makes the catch.
Just amazing, isn't it? And remember, he keeps this pace. It'll be the highest average in the history of baseball with runners in scoring position. Long way to go, but that's quite a statement to begin with.
2 more RBIs tonight. So Alan Craig
is tied now, isn't he?
Tied for the league lead with Phillips, Goldschmidt, both with 79. They have 3 lefties in their pen. Let's see if Charlie Manuel goes back to that side. 4-1 in favor of St. Louis. And our Nissan drive of the game, we'll go with Alan Craig. A couple of RBIs tonight. This time it's a broken bat. Little bloop out to left, and with that Nissan drive of the game, he is tied for the league lead in RBIs at 79. 8 pitch at bat for Craig. Jake Diekman is into the ball game. Chevy called to the pen. One of 3 lefties.
Diekman was a closer at AAA, and he's pitched very well at home.
Strike to Adams.
Been a strikeout man so far. You look at the 21 outs he's recorded over the last 7 innings, 11 have been via the strikeout.
That's pulled foul, and the runner was going. That's Craig.
And he had that base stolen. As got a good jump, a left-hander.
Now with 2 more hits tonight for Alan Craig, and Yadi going 1 for 4. Alan Craig has to be right there with Yadier Molina for the league lead, I would assume.
They're tied.
Yeah, it's got to be right there.
335 for both of them. Somebody's leading percentage points.
Strikeout of Adams, but back to a 3-run lead for the St. Louis Cardinals. Alan Craig up to 79 driven in. Sports update with Pat Paris. Eighth inning man, that's Trevor Rosenthal. Cardinals leading 4-1. The hard-throwing right-hander is in. It's part of our Chevy call to the pen.
Mike Matheny has things set up for his 8th inning, and then Mojica for the 9th. Kevin Franson, pinch hit here.
Cardinals about to hit the Phillies 10-5. That's a swing and a miss by Franson to start this 8th inning. Cardinals picked up a run in the first, 2 in the 4th, another just moments ago in the bottom of the 7th. Alan Craig with 2 RBIs. 0-1 pitch. Hits 96. How do you not, if you're Trevor Rosenthal, look up at the board to see how hard you're throwing? I've asked him about that, and he said it's hard not to when you're blessed with that kind of arm, and the velocity is something that does grab your attention. Fans ooh and ah about it. I always check to see how hard he's throwing every time he comes in.
Well, that's your rule. But Mike Matheny would probably prefer him to just concentrate ahead and let the hitter determine how good your fastball is.
97 and a fly ball into right. Beltran is there to make the catch.
Well, you say there, it's like, okay, I overpower the right-handed batter. He hits it to right field, just gets underneath it. So my fastball's pretty good tonight.
I check it after every pitch.
Then you know what I would do for you?
I can't wait to hear this one.
Yeah, no, I would sit there and tell the operator there to put it 10 miles an hour fewer so it frustrates you. Right? You think you're throwing 99 and all of a sudden it looks 89 up there. You'd be worrying about, oh, I got to get it up to 99. You forget about trying to get the hitter out.
And he said that is part of the problem. You know,
it is.
You get engrossed into watching that. I'm a thrower, not a pitcher.
Left-handed batter can't get around on it. The thing is, we've also seen from Trevor Rosenthal that not only can he throw triple digits, but he's developing very good secondary pitches that when he can throw the off-speed pitches along with that blazing fastball, then they really don't have a chance. There you see it right there. The changeup, look at that. Not even a strike, but his changeup at 89. There's a lot of people would love to have that fastball.
Yeah, Mott coming back next year. Mujica, free agent to be, and you know you got Rosenthal. And there's the breaking ball to Michael Young.
I mean, you can throw that pitch over for the first pitch strike. Then what's a guy going to do? You still got to look fastball every pitch, so you're going to take a lot of those secondary pitches early in the count. You'll take them even if they're strikes. Just always looking for the fastball. And you do that on a changeup. Fastball away. Down the middle, but he couldn't get it. Couldn't get around on it, and a screamer right over the Cardinal dugout. Look out.
Everybody clapping, so seemed to be all right.
Yeah, he's shaking his head. Now he wanted the changeup, but Michael Young stepped out. Fastball. So that'll teach you not to peek when you see it. If you would have saw that changeup and didn't see that he shook it off and went to the fastball that's up and in, you dive across the plate and look out.
The 2-2 puts it in play, slowly hit to the right side, and Michael Young, third and final out of the top of the 8th. Cardinals on top by the score of 4-1 in Game 1 of this 3-game set. Game. How about Alan Craig? Tied for the league lead in RBIs and in average. 2 for 3, pair of RBIs and a run scored tonight for the All-Star. And then Shelby Miller. Nearly 2 weeks we haven't seen him on the mound, and no rust. Looked like he needed that break after the first inning, in which there could have been some issues. Really settled in, fastball command, and was solid in his 6 innings of work.
Very good outing, something he can build off of. He should be very proud of himself. With the bullpen help, Shelby pick up his 10th win.
Still a way to go. As David Freese leads it off in the home half of the 8th. Cardinals on top 4-1.
Luis Garcia is the new right-hander. He's appearing for the 5th time. His first 4 have all been scoreless. His 5 2/3. He's been all over the map as he has pitched in A-ball, AA, AAA, and now the big leagues. Added to the 40-man roster when Adams went on under the knife.
Rollins has to hurry up, and he makes the play. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Freese a couple of times has been in between on these swings, and check swing that time grounds out to short. And here is Pete Kozma, 1 for 3 with a single, and that was back in the 6th. Struck out and also grounded out to short. Dodgers win again. Major League best 22-5 in their last 27. 9 straight road wins for LA.
Cincinnati won the first game in San Francisco, and the Giants are leading in game 2, a home game for Cincinnati in San Francisco.
It's popped up and into the stands he goes. No catch is made, and great effort by Darren Ruff, who also made a play near the stands earlier tonight.
The other one is by the tarp, and that held him up. This one, that little low wall, and he goes flying over it. But the Cardinal fans help him to his feet, and apparently no injury. Right in the aisle. It's been a while since we've had a doubleheader. Both 2 teams each have a home game in one city.
2-hit night for Pete Kozma.
Scalzo will get a plate appearance.
So the rain out at the Great American Ballpark, and then it's now working for Cincinnati as the home team in San Francisco. Baseball brought to you by Bud Light Music. First, it's the sound of history being made. Here we go. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Descalso, pinch hitter. 2-hit night for Kozma. And with a pair of lefties due up looking ahead to the ninth, 2 good ones. That's why you have that lefty warming up with Mojica in the bullpen. Utley, Brown, and Delman Young due up.
I think Segras needs some work anyway, so I'd like to see him start the 9th inning. help out Mojica getting the final 3 outs. Descalzo's picking up that average 3-game hitting streak.
All in all, solid year.
Such a good fundamental player, good teammate, good off the bench. I'm sure he'd like to play and start more games, but he's ready for whenever he's used.
One pitch to Descalso. Two balls, 2 strikes. Runner at first. Big gap in right center.
Garcia started the season in A ball, was promoted from May 29th. He went to Double A. On June the 25th, he went to Triple A.
Runner goes on the 3-2 pitch, and we'll do it again.
Went to the big leagues on the 10th of this month, and he's made 4 straight scoreless appearances, started his major league career.
Tapped foul, pitch at 95. Head-to-head since 2010, evenly matched. Cardinals 9 more home runs in that span, but
that surprised you?
Yeah,
wouldn't you thought they would have had more home runs than the Cardinals? Another foul ball.
Or is it? Strikeout of Descalso.
Yeah, it's a swing and miss. First base was occupied.
Yep. So Cosma advances to second base. And we're back to the top of the lineup, and Matt Carpenter. Cardinals with a win tonight, pick up win number 60.
Cardinals started out, or Carpenter started this game out with a base hit. Rarely, when that happens, does he not add on. That leads the major leagues with 39 multi-hit games. He did score one. He leads the National League with 76 runs scored, first in the National League with 31 doubles. So it's time for him to get another hit and another double. I'll go get a home run and get the run scored.
Tried to bunt his way on. Matt Carpenter in the 6th. Popped it up. Back to the pitcher. Turned into a double play. He's popped out with 2 runners on. Grounded out to second. Singled to center and scored back in the 1st. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Woo! San Francisco, top of the 1st, game 2 of their doubleheader, leading the Reds 3-0. Pittsburgh has already posted a victory. A 2-1 pitch to Carpenter. Just does not give in during an at-bat.
Such a good batting eye. Said he's kind of looking for his pitch until he get 2 strikes.
The 3-2 pitch to Carpenter. Here it comes. As he pulls it foul. If he can pick up a base hit, it'll be his 40th multi-hit game. Draws the walk. Fell behind in the at-bat, sees a ton of pitches, draws a walk, and is driving the Phillies crazy.
Jay already 2 for 4 in the night.
So 2 outs, 2 on.
Reeves wants to talk to his young right-hander. Carpenter got mostly 2-seam fastballs and sliders. Wonder if John Jay will get those that combination.
Mets beat Atlanta 4-1. So if the Phillies cannot come back, they would stay 7 games out. Washington has lost 5 straight. They're now 4 games below the 500 mark. 2 outs, 2 on. Ball 1 to John Jay.
Charlie Manuel, a lot of injuries in his bullpen, so he's having to use a lot of young kids. Good arms, but not quite ready.
1-1 pitch. 2 strikes.
Watching Cosmo at his second base, either shortstop or second baseman, even jockeying with him or trying to cut down his lead. And now with 2 strikes and 2 outs, he's going to get a tremendous jump. Secondary lead.
Play earlier, we had a strikeout of Daniel Descalso, and then Cosma advancing with a stolen base. That's how that play was ruled. For those of you scoring at home. 1-2 pitch to John Jay. Foul back.
Won't make that mistake again, will you?
No, I will not. Many, as we know, score here at the ballpark, up here in the booth, and right along with us at home.
Good therapy. Keeping score.
Strikeout of Jay. It's 4-1 St. Louis, and the 9th inning rolls in when we come back on Fox Sports Midwest.
After the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton will be at Lumiere Place. Great start by Shelby Miller tonight. They'll look at his 2-strike approach. They'll have the latest on Chris Carpenter backing off on his rehab. Plus, we'll have Cardinal player reaction and Mike Matheny's post-game comments. Edward Mojica on to pitch for the Cards. Guys, Mojica looking for save number 29 tonight.
All right, Jim, thanks. Chevy called to the pen. You know, we got off that shot just in time because the fans right behind Jim, they couldn't wait another second. They were ready to roll out of here, and Jim just flawlessly delivered the update. That, my friend, is talent. Here's Utley.
It's on the Jersey Shore practicing that timing.
Very talented man, that Jim Hayes. Utley 2 for 7 against Mojica. Strike one as Mojica had one of the great reactions we've seen after a win on Sunday. Relief.
You know, Dan, that would have been his 3rd blown save, and all 3 costing Wainwright a win. But it didn't happen.
Oh, 2 the count on Utley. Fly to left. Also a pair of base hits. Descalso, by the way, stayed in the game. He's at 3rd. Oh, 2 pitch. Mojica to Utley. The irony of that game, April 18th against the Phillies. Mejica picking up his first save of the year. Matt Carpenter first time in the leadoff spot.
And boy, did those two things really settle down this ball club, and they took off like a rocket ship.
Two balls, two strikes. This would be that nasty changeup, or was it? Regardless, base hit into right. A 3-hit night for Chase Utley. Leadoff man is on. Player of the game, who else? Alan Craig. Tied for the league lead in RBIs and average. Budweiser player of the game, double, couple of RBIs, runs scored 2 for 3. Alan Craig.
Lena wanted to talk to not only Mojica but the middle infielders. They may have changed signs or made sure everyone's on the same page.
Dominic Brown 3 times has hit it to short. One of those turned into a double play. Cardinals trying to hold on for Shelby Miller. Gave the Cardinals 6 innings tonight. If they hold on, it's win number 10. First pitch popped up.
Out of play.
As Yachty gives a look. Strike 1.
One for 2 off of Mejica. The one hit was a home run, but even that can't tie the ball game.
This is popped up and playable. Matt Carpenter on the outfield grass. 1 out.
Cardinals going for a high water mark. 23 games over 500, correct? Be the first time. 13 games over at home.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Delman Young at the plate.
Boston tonight won its 61st ball game, but they're just 20 games over 500. Cardinals are still the best record in the game.
And a base hit into right field. Tying run will come to the plate.
Ball just kind of sat right there, didn't it?
Darren Ruff with 1 out represents the tying run.
Where's that double play when you need it?
Strike on a pitch that was up.
Fastball there.
Good pitch, down and in. 0-2.
Good movement on that one.
One and 2 on Darren Ruff. Got him. Strikeout for Mejica. Cardinals are 1 out away from victory number 60.
Downward movement on that pitch. Ruff swings over the top.
John Mayberry hitless against Mexico as the fans come alive.
Mayberry with 7 home runs, doesn't have the power of his father.
First pitch. Popped up. This should do it. Who wants it? Adams. He's got it. Win number 60.
Very good ball game right here. Alan Craig delivers a couple RBIs, but it all started with Shelby Miller's 6 shutout innings, picking up his 10th win, and Mexico closing it out with another save. But this was a very good team win. 4 runs scored, 11 hits, no errors once again. It did leave 10 men on, but just had enough offense and enough timely hitting.
Alan Craig, 2 more RBIs tonight. Tied for the league lead. Miller's 10th win. Post-game show next.